Welcome to Grandma's Attic Music Review. I am not Dot, but I am thrilled that Dot entrusted me to cover today. I couldn't be more thrilled to be here, not only that she had faith in me that I could handle this, but she has a wonderful guest scheduled for you today. Hugh Birdsall, who is a fixture on the music scene here in New London and Connecticut really, is going to spend some time with us. We're going to hear him play, and then we're going to take a little time to sit and chat together. So you're going to want to turn up your volume, sit back, and enjoy some beautiful music coming at you right now from Grandma's Attic Music Review. Take it away, Hugh.
Hi, Allie.
Hi.
Yeah, so when Dot invites me to do this show, I end up playing things that I never get to play usually. Yeah. So things that are kind of old, and then things that I don't know very well yet because they're so new. So that's what we're going to do today. This one's called Hand in Hand. I'm going off to fight for Uncle Sam. I can't begin to try and understand. They send me out to die in a foreign land. Like cattle to the slaughter is what I am. You're the one I love and I'm your man. I hold no one above you, here I stand. We'll walk the streets of heaven hand in hand, hand in hand. The holy wars have come to our front door. We're fighting for the right to ask what for. With bleeding hearts and bodies, nothing more. You'll find us strewn across the desert floor. You're the one I love and I'm your man. I hold no one above you, here I stand. We'll walk the streets of heaven hand in hand, hand in hand. I can hear you calling out my name. You soldier on, still carrying the flame. My spirit longs to be with you again. Until that time I'm singing this refrain. You're the one I love and I'm your man. I hold no one above you, here I stand. We'll walk the streets of heaven hand in hand, hand in hand. You're the one I love and We'll walk the streets of heaven hand in hand, hand in hand.
Yay!
Thanks. Yeah, so here's another really old one. And let's see what it sounds like. This one's called Trouble in Mind. Let me just hold on. Okay. Yeah, let's give this a shot. Trouble in Mind. I walked down the corridor, clutching the brief in my hand. I was unsure, scared at the prospect of facing the judges, my peers, with no more than a feeling. My thoughts, they were racing around in a world, and I had trouble in mind. I entered the chamber, right before lunchtime. The rustle of paper bags drowned out my first line. The faces were turned to each other, not listening to me. I sat there invisible, not understanding I had trouble in mind. My anger rose up in my mouth like a fountain of fire and blood and destruction, to swallow the entire room in a heartbeat. I pushed it back down, and I stared at my hands, and I saw they were shaking. I had trouble in mind. I blasted the air with a righteousness reeling. I cursed them with words that were slashing and smoking and flashing with brilliance and power and yielding to nothing But I crashed and I burned as they all were my witness. I had trouble in mind. I ran from the courthouse, my eyes were on fire. The street started burning, thus fueled by desire, ignited by ignorance, misunderstanding the fate of the innocent ones, and crushing their last hope in one fleeting instant. I had trouble in mind.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so that was a nightmare transcribed, as it were. This one is a murder-suicide ballad. It's called My Little Darling. This town never did treat you good, my little darling. I swear my best to do like I should, my little darling one. Moon was rising, sea was shining, boats in the harbor to sail away. Don't wait another day. Last night you told me we could, my little darling. I swear I never thought we would, my little darling one. Moon was rising, sea was shining, boats in the harbor calling us to sail away. Don't wait another day. Bad luck and trouble is all we knew, my little darling. How come we couldn't live like the happy few, my little darling one. Two souls standing on the pier, my little darling. No one to grieve or even shed one tear, my little darling one. Moon was rising, sea was shining, boats in the harbor calling us to sail away. But now it's too late. 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 It's too late. Thanks. This next one is relatively new. It's called No Job, No Car, No Money. Doing all right. No job, no car, no money. Doing all right. No job, no car, no money. Doing all right. I used to work hard every night and day. Used to drive me a Ford and a Chevrolet. I used to bring the money in hand over fist. I used to be somebody on everybody's list. Now I lie around on the couch all day. I ride a two-wheeler and I don't get paid. Walking down the road with my hat in my hand. I'm nobody living here in nowhere land. No job, no car, no money. I'm doing all right. No job, no car, no money. I'm doing all right. No prospects, what you gonna do? No rent to wreck, how you gonna get through? No paycheck, what about the IOUs? Oh, what the heck, I ain't a feeling blue. I got food to eat, shoes on my feet, a place to sleep, and I got you. I don't regret, at least not yet. I got this guitar and all the stars. No job, no car, no money. Doing all right. No job, no car, no money. Doing all right. No job, no car, no money. I'm doing all right. You're very kind. Now, I think I've got time for a few more. Is that the case? Right. Okay, this is, I've played this out maybe once in my life, so we'll see how it goes. This one's called I Didn't Do Nothing. I watched and I waited. I didn't know what to do. I didn't do nothing. I didn't do nothing. Oh, I watched and I waited. I wondered. I didn't do nothing. Didn't do nothing. Then came the point of no return. I got blasted, beaten and burned. Out of the frying pan and into the fire. Out of the muck, stepping into the mire. Nothing. Nothing. I thought it would be okay. I didn't really have a clue. I didn't do nothing. I didn't do nothing. I was like I was sedated. The next in line was you. I didn't do nothing. Nothing. and I waited. I thought I heard thunder, nothing. I didn't do nothing. I watched and I waited. They killed 100 or more. I didn't do nothing. Nothing. This was the time of maximum danger. The sound of a round going into the chamber. Out of luck, standing at Hell's Gate. No more destiny, just a twist of fate. Nothing, just a twist of fate. Nothing, just a twist of fate. Thanks. I think I'm going to change guitars for this next number. I'll be right back. I find that no matter how hard I try, when I put a capo on it, knocks the guitar out of tune. So here's one that's pre-tuned. Yeah, so this number was kind of a challenge song in a way. It's called Lydia Lovelace. And if you don't know who Lydia Lovelace is, she's a singer from Ohio. And the first song I ever heard by her was called Steve Earle. And it was a song about the singer-songwriter Steve Earle stalking her. And so to give this context, this is the song that Steve Earle might have written about Lydia Lovelace, if you can follow that train of thought. It's called Lydia Lovelace. Lydia Lovelace, just divine. Listening to her voice is so fine. She sings it from the heart, and it tears mine apart. Lydia Lovelace, just divine. I wish that she would let me join her band. I'd fit right in, 'cause I'm an older man. I don't think it would be wrong if I helped her write a song. Not that she needs a guiding hand. Lydia Lovelace, just divine. Listening to her voice is so fine. She sings it from the heart, and it tears mine apart. Lydia Lovelace, just divine. I read an article that said she drinks and does cocaine while staring out the window at the rain. Now I ain't no kind of stalker, but Coke and Johnny Walker I would offer her and help to ease her pain. Could it ever be she would write a song for me? We could sing duets for all the world to hear. I know you're not for me, but I can have my fantasy. Lydia Lovelace, my dear. Lydia Lovelace, just divine. Listening to her voice is so fine. She sings it from the heart, and it tears mine apart. Lydia Lovelace, just divine. Lydia Lovelace, just divine. Lydia Lovelace, so sublime. Thanks. Yeah, so that's kind of new. I'll have to practice that one a little more, I think. Do we have time for one more?
I believe we do.
Great. Okay, this one was my attempt at writing a jazz standard. And as you'll see, it's kind of jazzy. I doubt that it'll ever be a standard, but this was my stab at it. It's called Just Maybe. I have never known happiness alone in the world without a song. I have only known emptiness, lost in the ruins of love gone wrong. But you just standing there, you with that wistful stare, can you show me a possibility? Could you and I change reality? I don't think so, but just maybe. I have never had a dream come true. Even my best days are filled with gloom. Every waking hour is the color blue. Sitting by myself in this lonely room. But you just standing there, you with that wistful stare, can you show me a possibility? Could you and I change reality? I don't think so, but just maybe. Is my closest friend. We live inside my head. Is that all there is until the end? My heart can only dread. just standing there. You with that wistful stare, can you show me a possibility? Could you and I change reality? I don't think so, but just maybe. One more? Sure, I'll give it a shot. I'll tell you, I'm going to try this one. I've never played it out before. And I'm going to change guitars again. But I was so inspired by this song. This one's not one of mine. I learned it from Dave Van Ronk. But he stole it from a woman named Nyla Horn. And it's got this really cool chord progression, which I would love to steal for something someday, maybe. And she was I guess a singer who worked up around the Boston area. And Dave Van Ronk put this on an album called No Dirty Names, which got panned in the press, but I thought it was one of his best records. It's drenched in echo, I think, was the problem that most pure folkies had with it. But hold on just a sec. But oh yes, I think it must be the humidity. Just knocks it right out. This will just take a second. And I do this. I take the time for tuning because I care about you, Okay, that might be okay. Oh, darn. Okay, I'll try it anyway. So it's got this kind of haunting thing going on. It's got an A minor 6 chord in it, which you don't usually hear. Oh, tell me, pretty baby, what are you thinking of that makes you tremble and turn away from love? Oh, baby, pretty baby, you've been so good to me, but you are blind, and baby, you can't see. When you look up at your baby and see what I have seen, you will see this old world is mean. I'm leaving, pretty baby, and don't you look for me, 'cause I'll be hiding down in the deep blue sea. Oh, baby, tell me, baby, what are you that makes you tremble and turn away from love.
Oh, that's terrific. Thank you so much. You're changing a girl that likes funk to folk. I love that. Very appreciative, and it sounds so great. And again, thank you to the crew here for having me in that really do all the button pushing to make it sound so terrific for you all at home. Hugh's going to come on over and sit down. I am really excited to chat with you about this. Hugh, my first question I want to ask you, the songs that you played for us, I know the last one you mentioned was written by somebody else.
Yes.
The other ones are all your creations? And I'm gonna follow that up with the second part.
Okay.
Do you collaborate, or are you a solo artist when you are when you're writing? Do you like to work?
I love working with other people.
You do?
I don't get to that often. I think some of the better things I've come up with have been in collaboration, but yeah, mostly it's a solitary kind of thing.
And where does some of your inspiration come from? As I'm listening, we heard the murder-suicide. We heard I've got no job. It got a little lighter as we went on. But where does some of your imagination come from, your creativity?
It's all over the map.
Yeah.
That song, Just Maybe, the first line of it comes from a French movie called The Walls of Malapaga, I think, with Jean Gabin and Isabella Miranda. And she says a line in there that goes, Je n'ai jamais connu le bonheur, which means I've never known happiness. And I said, oh, okay, I can steal that line.
Yeah.
And then it kind of went through that. There are things that happen in your life that just sort of subtly have an impact on your songwriting. And I can't really say that I have one thing. Anything can be a seed to start a song from.
The way you just answered that begs another question I do not have in my notes, but listening to your accent, do you speak a different language? Do you speak any other languages?
I speak French and I speak a little bit of Spanish.
You do? Have you ever written or sung in those?
I have.
Yeah.
I've written a song in French called Ma Colombe that I wrote for a wedding because they needed something wedding-like.
Yeah.
And they were a French-Canadian family, so that's where I came up with that one.
Oh, that's really interesting to think of, you're expressing yourself in a completely different way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very challenging. That's why I don't do it very often.
Yeah, I bet. Other musicians, I'm curious, that have had an effect on you, or perhaps if there's one that stands out to you. Is there any one that in particular has made a real impression on you?
Oh, well, Dave Van Ronk is a big one in my pantheon.
Yeah.
I know probably 10 of his songs, either that he's covered or that he's written. Let's see. Don't get me started. I'll just start naming
just
names.
Keep going and going.
But in terms of folk music,
yeah.
Certainly him. There's a guy named Richard Schindel that I like a lot. And now I'm drawing a blank. So
well, I'll move on. I got lots to ask
Okay.
you. We know you in this capacity as a folk artist. Would we be surprised at what you listen to at home? Are you a heavy metal listener or something you've got hidden?
No, you probably wouldn't be that surprised.
No.
I don't listen to much heavy metal, unless you count AC/DC, and I don't listen to them that much either.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, at home I listen to a lot of sort of folky things and alt country and rock and roll and rockabilly.
Very cool. Something I really want to make sure we have time for is to talk about what you've got coming up, because I know with the season starting, some wonderful events coming up.
Yeah.
First of all, I want to put out Dog Bite Band on Facebook is where people can kind of look to find.
Sure, you can find stuff about us there.
And
That's the name of my band.
also we talked about reforestthetropics.org. So
Okay.
that's another one. But is that where they go to find out your dates? Because I know you've got some wonderful things in New London.
Well, don't go to
coming
Reforest the Tropics to
No.
find out my dates. That's an organization I work for, and I do some education consulting with them. But Dog Bite Band is my band Dog Bite, and you can find a lot about our dates there.
And now, is that the band you'll be playing with in New London? I know you've got the New London Food Stroll coming up.
Yes, we're going to appear as a trio somewhere on the streets of New London. They haven't told us where yet.
And who's in the trio?
Kevin Sally is our drummer, who goes by the name Dr. K. And then Mickey Williston is the lead guitar player, and we all sing together. We have a great time.
You do have a great, you know, one of the things that is a testament to the great time you have, I saw a video of Daddy Jack's in New London for the Hoot for Hunger.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, I'd like to ask a little bit about what that felt like, because the video just exuded joy, and what that Hoot for Hunger means to you.
Well, I have to give Clayton Allen credit for that. He's a guy who gets up on stage all by himself, and he just gets people going.
Yeah, he does.
And so the rest of us fed off of that for the rest of the show.
Yeah.
And we did a finale together, and it was a lot of fun, and people wanted to sing along and stuff, so that was cool.
And that's a great place. I think Daddy
It is a great
Jack
place.
Chaplin really...
He's a big supporter of local music. And the Hoot for Hunger is something that we do 4 times a year. The next one is going to be June 7th at Captain Scott's Lobster Dock, and I'm still kind of gathering musicians to play at that one. But yeah, that's an event where we raise money for the New London Community Meal Center. And I hope lots of people come down and see that, because we like to give them lots of money when we can.
That's a really great cause. Do any of those performances or fundraisers, are they ever recorded where people can participate in that way if they can't make it? Or is there any thought of that?
I think occasionally they've recorded them. And no, we haven't really explored that possibility, but that's an interesting idea.
Yeah, sometimes if they can't make it and people definitely want to help out, I think, especially New London, there's a real vibe to the town and helping others.
That's very true.
You know, I wanted to also ask about, you know, it's hard, you know, not picking a favorite song, it's like picking a favorite child, but in particular, maybe a proudest moment you've had musically, where you just thought, wow, pinch, pinch, is this really happening? Do you have one of those?
They happen all the time. That night that you mentioned that was on videotape, that was a great night. That was one of the best hoots that I can remember.
Yeah.
Where just people sort of came together and really got into a groove together. But the other night we played at the Yantic River Inn in Yantic.
Yeah, yeah.
And you know, you always hope when you're playing out that everything goes well, you know, that the PA is dialed in and you don't have technical glitches. And that was one of those nights, and it was just kind of like bathing in music. And we have this group of sort of octogenarians who come and dance to us.
Yeah.
And it's always great when people dance, you know, we love that. But these guys, they come to every show that we do there, and they get up and dance to all these tunes. And so we've kind of found our niche audience in the octogenarian crowd, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you know, it's a seasoned bunch for sure.
Absolutely.
But you know, this is another a tact of a question I'd like to ask about someone that maybe is having a new chapter open for them, and perhaps they never had time for the music they loved prior, but now want to get into it. Do you have any advice for someone like that?
Sure. Go for it.
Yeah.
It's never too late.
Yeah.
I know lots of people. It's funny. I retired a couple of years ago, and now I play music all the time. You know, I probably play out maybe 6 or 7 times a month.
Yeah.
And I've discovered that lots of other people are doing that too. They retire and then they start a band.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, it's a whole new thing.
Yeah, yeah.
It used to be you started a band when you were a teenager, and now you start one when you're in your 60s.
That's great. Well, 60 is the new, what, 30?
Well, there.
Yeah, at least that's my story. I'm sticking to it. We're going to stick with that. In addition to, you know, the artists we've been talking about, New London is has such a wealth of musicians.
It does.
And do you find that now that you're doing this really full time, are you reaching out and playing with different artists? I mean, I know you've got your band, but
yes.
Do you find that others want to get on board?
Well, I play with a violinist named Dana Takaki, who's wonderful, and she plays with
great,
everybody. You can ask any musician in the area. Did you ever play with Dana? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I sometimes play with Ann Castellano under the name She Said, He Said, and we do some recording together. I've been recording Clayton Allen, who's just phenomenal, and we just finished his CD, and it's going to come out in a week or two, I think. Actually, I shouldn't say that. It's probably a month or two, because the wheels move slowly. But I play with him every once in a while and have a blast. And then my old band, the Reducers, we get together and jam in the basement periodically. So yeah.
And I'd be remiss not asking about that, and maybe a memory or something that you can share about the Reducers. I mean, they've had such incredible longevity in everyone's consciousness.
Well, we miss Steve all the time.
Yeah.
That's just a constant. And so probably the highlight of our time as a band was going to Japan that time and getting treated like pop stars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very
And I get
special.
reminded about that periodically.
Oh, and I think you will for a very long time to come. You touched on recording. Will people be able to find the recordings you're talking about through the website we mentioned, or Facebook? Or
Yeah, on Facebook it gets mentioned a lot. And if you look up Clayton Allen probably on Facebook pretty soon, you'll start seeing ads for his new CD.
Terrific.
And he's just phenomenal. He came in and recorded at my little home studio. And I think everything was 1 or 2 takes. And he doesn't even tune the guitar. He just goes in and plays this amazing stuff. And then he yodels and scats and whistles and plays harmonica, and it just blows my mind that he can do it, make it so effortless. You know?
Yeah. Technology. Again, folk is such an organic style of music, and we think of the acoustic, but technology, no one's escaped technology.
That's a fact.
Can you talk a little bit about what it has meant to making music for you? Is it a necessary evil when you think of like the social media stuff, or do you think about the advances and how it's helped make better music for you?
In the recording area, technology has just been great. It's made pretty professional sounding recording available to any jerk like me who can go and get Pro Tools or whatever and sit at home and make pretty good sounding recordings. And of course you need a good performance too.
Yeah.
My friend Richard said he'd much rather have a bad recording of a good performance than the other way around.
Yeah.
But I think that's been a big plus for me, because I've been interested in recording since I was a little kid. I had those little reel-to-reel spy recorders when I was when I was a kid, and then eventually got up to 4-track cassettes, and then ADAT machines with Super VHS cassettes, and now it's all Pro Tools, and it's all online, and it makes it so easy and a lot of fun to experiment with.
Very cool. Do you still play records at all? Were you ever a fan of records?
I'm one of the few DJs at WCNI who still plays records. Everybody else is on the computer. But my cohorts and me, we bring in our vinyl, and we bring in our CDs and our cassettes and all that. And we sometimes play stuff online too, but there's a lot to be said for a nice scratchy vinyl record, in my opinion.
In mine as well. I do Morning Mojo, so I'm on WCNI as well. And I have to say we are of the same ilk. There's something about the warmth of them. And also, I'm getting off here, a tangent a little bit,
quite all right.
But there's something about the process. Of actually getting the album and then searching through it for some surprising names that might have played background.
And knowing how to cue it up on the machine too. I know a lot of the younger DJs have no idea what to do with the turntable.
I hear you. It's like for spin art or something. They're used to. Let's just touch on that. So we are so lucky to have you on WCNI, and I'm sure we're both so passionate about what we do, bringing to the turntable what we love. But what has it meant to you to have an outlet like that in the community? It's very special, I think.
It's priceless. I couldn't put a value on it. It's so amazing.
Yeah.
And it's clearly valuable to the community too, because year after year we have that 2 weeks of fundraising, and we always make our goal. And it's a sustainable thing that's been sustaining for quite a while. I think Peter and I started in 1979.
Really? Have you done it consecutively, or did you?
No, there were a couple of breaks in there, but we're one of the old school of DJs there for sure. So CNI is great.
Absolutely.
There's no doubt about it.
Absolutely. We're so lucky to have a community of people that love CNI and the DJs that all love it. And also, before we throw it to you, because we're gonna ask you for one more song.
Oh, sure.
I just want to mention along those lines, we have such a community that values local, I think. Whether it's music, local musicians that are just really, they'd be on the world stage if we just get them out there more. We love keeping them for ourselves.
Yeah, we want to keep them to ourselves.
Exactly, but also the stores and like the Telegraph or Tumbleweeds, which are local music
Sure.
places that you can still file through and
Yeah.
talk to someone that knows about it. So I want to definitely mention that as well.
Great.
It's just a real
Thanks.
treat. And of course, you know, we got to thank Dot because, you know, she
Yes,
is again
Dot does
another
amazing work.
WCNI original. So thank you so much for your time.
Thanks
It's
for
been
having me.
a real treat getting to talk to you. You know, as DJs, we see who comes in after us and who's there before us.
That's about it, yeah.
So this was a treat. I'm glad that
Thank
Dot
you.
allowed me this to share.
It's been a pleasure.
It's absolutely our pleasure. The songs were terrific, but can we get you to do one more?
Sure.
Thank you, Hugh. I appreciate it. I do appreciate y'all being here. Thank you for tuning in. Dot will be back. Again, I want to thank her for trusting me to come on and get to stretch my wings a little bit more, and to thank Hugh. Again, you can go to Dog Bite Band on Facebook. And I would also definitely Google, you know, we were talking about the New London Food Stroll is coming up. Make Music Day is, I believe, June the 21st.
Yes,
We
21st.
want to make sure we get that out. And Hoot for Hunger. And this is something we really need to sneak in under the wire. August 31st. I know there's something very special at the Hygienic.
We're doing an event for
Jim,
to raise money for Jim Stidful for his scholarship fund.
that's terrific.
And we're still lining up the acts, but
And that's going to be really a very special event. So August 31st. And you can always go to hygienic.org to find out more about that. Hugh,
Yes.
thank you so much.
Thank
Take
you.
it away.
here's a song called "The Riverside Stomp."